Joshua Williamson begins a new era of Superman this week with a fresh new #1 that lays out what's been going on in Superman's family of books while also setting up its own fresh storyline. Williamson wastes no time getting right into revealing several new status quo changes, like Lois being the new editor-in-chief of the Daily Planet while Perry takes a much-needed break, a new police chief Superman has to partner with in Metropolis, and Superman surprisingly getting ownership of LexCorp, or SUPERCORP as it's now called by Mercy. It's something we have seen before, with Superman getting to team up with people like Steelworks, Cadmus Labs, Star Labs, but Joshua Williamson sets his apart from the rest with some interesting caveats, like Clark being the only one who can use this company and its resources, and because it's related to Lex, it comes with Lex's own rogues gallery of villains, all who are new creations of Williamson and are teased in the final page of this issue, being one of the ones who are using Superman's own rogues as chess pawns in their game against the hero. With all this new and interesting stuff, you'd think there wouldn't really be much time for classic Superman action and character work, but Williamson puts that in and then some, giving us some really fun moments at a wedding early on in the issue, and some really great Clark Kent stuff at the Daily Planet, as well as some really cool references to things like Superman the Animated Series, and with a cool looking cartoon, as well as some really cool looking outfits we see in the background of scenes that are from the cartoon as well as various other comics from throughout Superman's history. And Williamson does it all with a loving reverence for what came before, and not stomping it down and erasing it from history, but celebrating it. Jamal Campbell joins Williamson as the series artist, and man was he made to draw Superman. His colourful, stylish artwork fits the character so damn well, and we get some brilliant action set pieces and storytelling sequences with Superman's classic rogues gallery. We also get a really great beginning to the issue where Jamal lays out Superman's entire origin in a splash page by painting the hero's cape like a tapestry that tells the story of Superman's, coming from Krypton and landing in Kansas and everything, and just his life and exploits, and it's just classic storytelling done in a really fun and interesting way. Superman issue 1 was a wonderful new beginning to the Man of Steel's adventures, setting out some new status quo shifts by ingraining them flawlessly into Superman's long and storied history. I am going to give this issue a 10 out of 10. Superman issue 1 finds Mark Kent calling up to Clark to turn his damn music down, thinking that Pete Ross is rubbing off on him in the wrong ways. Jonathan tells her to leave him be, since when Clark grows up, he's going to have to deal with so many people telling him what to do and who to be. They both know, however, that Clark will listen to the beat of his own drum and the sound of his big heart, as in the present, Superman saves a family from Livewire, who is trying to blast the Man of Steel as Lex Luthor critiques Superman's actions, telling the hero to ignore the bystanders and deal with Livewire directly. Superman tells the villain to hush as Livewire blasts him into the ground, thinking the hero was talking to her. Lex implores Superman to just use his ice breath and to dunk Livewire in the ocean and cut off her powers and oxygen. Reporter Duke Dixon reports from the fight nearby, detailing how Leslie is lashing out after her podcast was pulled from all streaming platforms, but luckily Superman was there to rescue them. Lex isn't too impressed, but is brought back to his own reality by the slop hitting his prison food tray, told to stop talking to himself, otherwise they'll send him to Arkham. Lex knows that Superman can ignore him all he wants, but once he sees the dangers on the horizon, he will be begging to listen. Livewire, meanwhile, is carted off by the MCU as Superman meets with the new police chief Neo Krakoa, who is more than happy to be working with the legendary Superman, even without Maggie Sawyer vouching for the hero. Superman would like to stay and chat, but overhears a couple waiting to get married, but their officiant ran away during the commotion. Superman steps in and helps the couple get married before joining their wedding party. Later on, Clark taps away at a story as Jimmy asks if he heard him talking about his new girlfriend who was moving in. Clark wants to hear all about it, but he's got a deadline to make. Jimmy understands and thinks the new boss will go easy on him though, as Lois Lane, the new Daily Planet editor-in-chief, burst out of her office, telling the bullpen that she will not be going easy on any of them because she used to be one of them, since the news waits for no one. Lois wonders why she ever agreed to take Perry's job, but Clark knows it's because Perry knew that if anyone else oversaw the planet while he was on sabbatical, it would be a mess. Lois thinks that Perry's office is like a cage and she's a predator, needing to go out to hunt for a story, otherwise she'll have to eat an intern. Clark assures her that if she can handle interviewing the most dangerous people in the world and live, she can handle this new job. As Jimmy talks more about his new girlfriend, Lex's voice chimes in to Superman's head again, telling the hero that it's been 47 minutes since anyone saw him, making him wonder how many lives are being lost per second. Lex says that Metropolis is in grave danger and Superman must let go of his ego and they must work together to save it. Clark excuses himself and heads to the roof, where Lois finds him, noting how he only wears his music headphones if he's trying to tune something out. Clark tells her that he can still hear the world with them on, but they help clear his head and he needs it clear since so much has happened since he came back from Warworld, but he is happy to be back like this. He reveals to Lois that for years he's trained his hearing to hear specific people like his family or Bruce Wayne or even Lex Luthor, who is currently telling him from prison that he can help the hero. Lois hopes he's not buying this, but Clark thinks Lex is the only person he's ever truly given up on. Lois thinks that Lex gave up on himself, wanting to give her husband something else to focus on in the meantime. But Jimmy ruins the moment, asking if Lois and Clark saw it as well. The trio see something in the sky and Clark dashes off to investigate an attack on LexCorp. Superman arrives at the building, finding it surrounded by a red-blue blur, and upon closer inspection, he finds the blur to be nanomachines with his symbol on it. The nanomachines explode in a bright light and form a House of L symbol on the roof of LexCorp. Mercy Graves calls up to Superman, glad it caught his attention, as she reveals that LexCorp is now SUPERCORP. Superman asks what that means and discovers that LexCorp now belongs to him since Lex is in prison. Superman knows he can't be bored, and Mercy tells him that Lex disagrees, asking Superman to follow her inside. Mercy says to Superman that Luthor has genuine concerns about the future of the world and believes that something dire is on the horizon, something much bigger than his feud with Superman, which is why their team has put together something to show Superman what they mean. Mercy starts up a little animation where a Superman is shown needing help from SuperCorp to defend Metropolis together. Superman appreciates what Mercy and the others are doing there, but he's not afraid to ask for help. But between Steelworks and Star Labs, they have it covered. Mercy loves having competition, wanting Superman to understand that she is not Lex Luthor, and while he always thought that Superman was just a musclehead, she knows that he is as smart as he is strong, so now he needs to listen to her pitch. Mercy shows Superman his new team made up of the best minds of the world, and ever since they changed to SuperCorp, morale has been through the roof. Superman tells Mercy to give the company to these people and let them work in peace, but Mercy reveals that Luthor's lawyers made it so that only Superman can run SuperCorp and its resources and no one else, and if anyone else tries, it will just be automatically shut down. Superman wants to try and raise some money to buy it out, and Mercy knows that he means through crushing coal into diamonds, which could ruin the economy. But before he does that, she wants him to meet LL01 first. Superman meets with an AI version of Lex who is dressed up like Jor-El. Superman becomes angered at seeing his father's image and technology perverted in such a way, taking his leave to go and visit Lex in person. Superman speeds off towards Stryker's Island as Mercy tells her boss that the hero is incoming. Lex knows he's not going to make it as Superman hears some trouble elsewhere in town. Superman responds to Parasite trying to absorb a bus full of children. Superman swoops in and takes the bus to safety, returning to confront Rudy and ask how he broke out of Star Labs. Lex says that Superman is to not let Parasite touch him, and if he follows his direction, they'll take down the villain fast. Lex details an absorption cannon at SuperCorp that the hero can use on Rudy, however it might kill him. Parasite charges Superman, but the hero keeps him at a distance with a shockwave, bouncing the villain into a park. Superman tells the villain that he can help him with whatever Luthor has done to him, but Parasite, now split into many copies, reveals it wasn't Lex. Lex thinks that Superman should have listened to his offer, and he did warn him about other players beginning to reveal themselves. Superman is overcome by the Parasites as elsewhere, Lex Luthor's own rogues gallery begin to carve up the captured Bizarro to use against Superman.